You might be feeling it right now. A quiet weight on your shoulders. A sense that even though you've reached a wonderful stage of life, perhaps one you worked towards for decades, something still feels heavy. Maybe it's a lingering worry, a past decision that keeps replaying, or the feeling that you're not quite living the life you imagined. It's a painful reality for many of us as we get older. We carry things that don't serve us anymore. Burdens that actually steal our joy and, yes, even impact our health and longevity. We spend so much time accumulating things, experiences, and even responsibilities throughout our lives. But there comes a point, especially as we cross that threshold around 65, where true freedom and deeper happiness isn't about adding more, but about gently letting go. Letting go of the things that are holding us back, draining our energy, and clouding our peace. It's a powerful secret to living not just longer, but better. In this video, we're going to explore 4 specific things many of us cling to, perhaps without even realizing it, and why letting them go can unlock a happier, more vibrant future. We'll talk about what these things are and how you can start loosening their grip, one gentle step at a time. Stick with me all the way to the end, because there's something I want to share that might truly surprise you about the power you already hold. Let's start with the first thing that can really weigh us down as we get older: the constant pressure to be busy and productive. For so many years, our worth was tied to what we did: our jobs, raising families, building careers, volunteering, running households. We were always on the go, always solving problems, always doing. And when we step away from that relentless pace, whether through retirement or just the natural slowing of life, there can be this strange, unsettling feeling, like, if I'm not constantly busy, am I still valuable? If I'm not producing something, am I wasting time? This ingrained belief that productivity equals worth is incredibly powerful, and it's something that can steal our peace and happiness in later life. Think about it. You've worked hard. You've earned this time. Time to relax. Time to pursue hobbies you never had moments for. Time to just be. But if you're still feeling guilty when you're not doing something traditionally productive, or if you fill every single minute of every day just to avoid feeling aimless, you're carrying a heavy, unnecessary burden. This constant striving for busyness isn't just mentally exhausting. It can manifest physically too. Stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed. These are all consequences of not allowing yourself permission to slow down. Your body has been working hard for decades. It needs rest. It needs gentle care. It needs moments of quiet reflection and simple enjoyment. When you constantly push yourself to be busy, you're ignoring those needs. Letting go of the need for constant busyness doesn't mean becoming lazy or unproductive. Not at all. It means redefining what productivity means in this chapter of your life. Maybe productivity is nurturing your garden, spending quality time with loved ones, finally learning that musical instrument, or simply sitting on a bench and watching the world go by. It's about finding fulfillment and purpose in ways that nourish your soul, rather than just fulfilling external expectations or an old internal script. How do you start letting go of this need? It begins with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts. When you have a free afternoon, does a little voice pop up telling you that you should be doing something more productive? Do you feel restless if you're just relaxing? Acknowledging these feelings is the first step. The next step is challenging them. Ask yourself, who says I have to be constantly busy? What is the worst thing that will happen if I just sit and read a book, or take a leisurely walk, or even just do nothing for an hour? Often, the answer is nothing bad at all. In fact, something good might happen. You might feel more relaxed, more present, more energized. Start small. Schedule intentional periods of non-busyness. Block out an hour in your day for unstructured time. Don't plan anything, just see what happens. Maybe you'll find yourself gazing out the window, reminiscing fondly. Or maybe you'll feel inspired to draw or write. Maybe you'll just nap. All of these are perfectly valuable ways to spend your time. It's about giving yourself permission. Permission to rest. Permission to play. Permission to simply exist without an agenda. Think about the example of my friend, Margaret. For years after she retired, she felt this immense pressure to fill every day. She volunteered for everything, signed up for every club, was constantly rushing from one activity to the next. She looked exhausted and often seemed stressed. One day, after a health scare, she was forced to slow down. At first, she was anxious and didn't know what to do with herself. But gradually, she started rediscovering simple joys. She spent hours tending her rose bushes, something she'd always loved but never had time for. She started meeting one friend for a quiet cup of tea instead of rushing to a crowded social event. She began reading for pleasure again. And you know what? She looks 10 years younger. She's calmer, happier, and says she finally feels like she's living her life, not just fulfilling obligations. Letting go of the need for constant busyness isn't about shrinking your life. It's about expanding your capacity for peace and enjoyment. It's about recognizing that rest and leisure are not the opposite of a fulfilling life. They are essential components of one. Especially now. This leads us smoothly to another significant burden we often carry. Continuing with the things that can hold us back from truly flourishing after 65, let's talk about letting go of regret and dwelling on what-ifs. Oh, this is a big one for so many people, isn't it? As we look back over the decades, it's natural for memories to surface, the good, the bad, and the choices we made. And sometimes, those past decisions, the roads not taken, the mistakes we made, can haunt us. We can get stuck replaying scenarios in our minds. If only I had done this instead. Or, why didn't I say that? Or, I wish I hadn't messed that up. This constant rehashing of the past is like carrying a backpack full of heavy stones everywhere you go. It weighs you down, distracts you from the beauty of the present moment, and can even impact your health. Chronic rumination is linked to increased stress, anxiety, and even depression. It keeps you tethered to a time and place that no longer exists, preventing you from fully engaging with the life you have now. The painful reality is that you cannot change the past, not one single moment of it. It's done. It's over. But what you can change is your relationship with it. Letting go of regret doesn't mean you dismiss or forget your past experiences. It means acknowledging them, understanding the lessons they taught you, because even mistakes are powerful teachers, and then choosing not to let them define you or steal your peace today. It's about accepting that you made the best decisions you could with the knowledge and circumstances you had at the time. We are all human, and we all make choices we might look back on differently. That's part of the journey. But living with constant regret is like driving a car while only looking in the rearview mirror. You're bound to miss what's right in front of you. All the potential, all the joy, all the new experiences waiting for you in this moment and the future. How do you begin to shed the weight of regret? It's a process, not an overnight fix. One powerful tool is self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a dear friend who was struggling with a past mistake. Would you be harsh and critical, or would you offer understanding, kindness, and perspective? Often, we are our own worst critics. Practice being gentle with yourself. Remind yourself that you are human, that you learned from the experience, and that it doesn't diminish your worth today. Another technique is reframing. Instead of seeing a past event as a failure, can you see it as a lesson? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about others or the world? How did that experience, difficult as it might have been, shape you into the person you are today? Sometimes, the things we regret most are the very things that led us down a path that ultimately brought us valuable experiences or relationships we wouldn't have had otherwise. Journaling can also be incredibly helpful. Writing down your regrets can take some of their power away. It allows you to process them outside of your head. Once you've written them down, you can try writing a letter to your past self, offering forgiveness and understanding. You don't even have to send it. The act of writing is what matters. You can also practice mindfulness, bringing your attention back to the present moment whenever you notice your mind drifting to past regrets. Focus on your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sights and sounds around you. Gently guide your mind back to the now. Consider the story of Arthur. Arthur spent years regretting a business decision he made in his 50s that cost him a significant amount of money. He would wake up at night thinking about it, rehashing how he could have done things differently. It cast a shadow over his retirement. Finally, after talking with a wise friend, he started working through it. He acknowledged the mistake, but he also made a list of everything he did learn from the experience about business, about risk, and about his own resilience. He also realized that because of that setback, he downsized earlier than planned, which led him to move to a different town where he met his current partner and found a wonderful community. He started to see that while the financial loss was real, holding on to the regret was causing him far more pain than the original event. He couldn't get the money back, but he could reclaim his peace of mind by accepting the past and focusing on the richness of his present life. Letting go of regret isn't about ignoring the past. It's about making peace with it. It's about understanding that your past is a part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the whole story. And it certainly doesn't have to be a burden you carry endlessly into your future. By shedding this weight, you free up immense mental and emotional energy to invest in enjoying your life today and looking forward to tomorrow. Now, let's talk about another deeply ingrained habit that many of us struggle to release. Moving forward in our journey of letting go, we arrive at a point that can be particularly challenging, especially after years of being the strong, capable person everyone relied on. That is, letting go of the fear of asking for help and the reluctance to accept dependence. For decades, you were likely the rock for your family, your colleagues, your community. You were the one solving problems, giving advice, being independent and self-sufficient. And there's immense pride and strength in that. But as we get older, there may come times when our bodies don't move quite as easily, when tasks we once did effortlessly become more difficult, or when we simply need a listening ear or some practical support. And for many, asking for help feels like a sign of weakness, a failure, or a burden on others. This fear can lead to isolation, unnecessary struggle, and even put our health and safety at risk. The painful reality here is that resisting help often makes things harder, not easier. It can lead to frustration, exhaustion, and sometimes bigger problems down the line. Refusing assistance when you truly need it isn't a badge of honor. It's often a barrier to living well. It prevents others who care about you from showing their love and support. It denies you the benefit of their skills, time, or perspective. And it feeds into a narrative that needing help is somehow shameful, when, in fact, it is a fundamental part of the human experience at any age, and a sign of wisdom and self-awareness as we get older. Accepting help isn't about becoming completely dependent or losing your autonomy. It's about recognizing that interdependence is natural and healthy. It's about allowing your community, friends, family, neighbors, professionals, to be there for you, just as you have likely been there for them in the past. How do you start letting go of this resistance? It requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing asking for help as a burden on others, try to see it as an opportunity for connection and mutual support. People who care about you want to help. It makes them feel good to contribute, to know they are valued and needed. By allowing them to assist you, you are giving them a gift, the gift of being able to show their care in a tangible way. Start small. Don't wait until you're in a crisis situation. Practice asking for help with something minor. Can a neighbor help you carry in groceries? Can a friend teach you how to use a new app on your phone? Can a family member help you with a small repair around the house? The more you practice, the less daunting it feels. Be specific about what you need. Sometimes, people are hesitant to ask because they don't know exactly what kind of help would be useful. Take a moment to figure out precisely what would make a difference. Do you need a ride to an appointment? Do you need someone to listen without trying to fix anything? Do you need help organizing a closet? Clear requests are easier for people to respond to. Also, consider professional help when needed. This could be anything from a home health aide for a few hours a week, to a therapist to talk through emotional challenges, to a financial advisor, or simply hiring someone to do yard work or house cleaning. Recognizing when professional help is the most appropriate solution is also a form of self-care and a wise way to allocate resources you've earned. Think about the example of Robert. Robert was fiercely independent his entire life. After a fall, he had difficulty managing his large house and yard. He refused repeated offers of help from his children, insisting he could manage. He grew increasingly isolated and frustrated, and his health declined because he wasn't taking care of things properly. Finally, his daughter sat him down and gently explained that his refusal to accept help wasn't about him being strong. It was preventing them from helping the man they loved. She framed it not as him needing help, but as them wanting to contribute to his well-being and happiness. Robert, though still hesitant, agreed to let his son help with the yard work and his daughter help with grocery shopping and meal prep a couple of times a week. Slowly, his attitude shifted. He saw that it wasn't a reflection of his inadequacy, but a strengthening of his family bonds. He had more energy, less stress, and actually enjoyed the time spent with his children during these tasks. He realized that letting go of the need to do everything himself allowed him to enjoy the things he could do more fully, and more importantly, allowed him to feel more connected and cared for. Letting go of the fear of asking for help and accepting interdependence is about embracing connection and acknowledging that we are not meant to go through life completely alone. It's a sign of maturity and strength to understand your limits and allow others to support you. And finally, there's one more significant thing many of us grip onto that needs loosening. And the fourth thing we need to consider letting go of after 65, something that can truly rob us of peace and joy, is unnecessary worry and the need to control everything. We've spent decades trying to manage life, to plan, to anticipate problems, to keep loved ones safe, to secure our futures. This habit of worrying and trying to control outcomes is deeply ingrained. But as we get older, we face more situations where control is simply not possible. Our own health challenges, the choices our adult children make, the unpredictable nature of the world around us. Clinging to the need to control these things and constantly worrying about them is utterly exhausting and completely ineffective. It's like trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands. It drains your energy, increases your stress, leads to sleepless nights, and prevents you from finding contentment in the present moment. The painful reality is that worry is often just borrowed suffering. We suffer over things that might never happen, or over things we have absolutely no power to change. And even when things we worry about do happen, the worrying beforehand didn't prevent them. It just made the time leading up to them miserable. Letting go of unnecessary worry and the need for control isn't about becoming irresponsible or indifferent. It's about recognizing the boundary between what you can influence and what you cannot. It's about focusing your energy on the former and finding peace with the latter. It's about cultivating acceptance and trust. Trust in life. Trust in your loved ones. And trust in your own ability to handle challenges as they arise, rather than trying to prevent every single potential problem. How do you begin to release this grip on worry and control? It starts, again, with awareness. Notice when you're worrying and what you're worrying about. Is it something you can actually do something about? If so, Take action. Make a plan. Have a conversation. Gather information. Taking action, even a small step, can reduce worry. But if it's something you truly cannot control, like a past event, someone else's decisions, or the general state of the world, acknowledge the worry, but then consciously practice letting it go. This isn't easy. It takes practice. Techniques like mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly helpful here. Training your mind to observe worries without getting swept away by them. You can visualize placing the worry on a leaf and watching it float down a stream. Or imagine putting it in a box and setting it aside. Another helpful practice is setting aside a specific worry time each day. Give yourself permission to worry for 15 to 20 minutes. Write down everything that's on your mind. When the time is up, consciously decide to put those worries aside until the next worry time. This prevents worries from consuming your entire day. Also, challenge your worrying thoughts. Are they realistic? What is the probability of the thing you're worrying about actually happening? What is a more balanced perspective? Often, our worries are blown out of proportion. Focus on gratitude. When you find yourself spiraling into worry, consciously shift your focus to things you are grateful for in your life right now. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to anxiety. Consider the story of Eleanor. Eleanor worried constantly about her adult children. Were they happy? Were they financially stable? Were they making good choices? She would call them frequently, offering unsolicited advice and getting anxious if they didn't immediately reassure her. This strained her relationships with them and left her feeling perpetually stressed. She realized her worrying wasn't helping her children. It was just making her unhappy and making them feel smothered. She started working on letting go. She practiced deep breathing exercises when she felt the urge to call and fret. She focused on cultivating her own interests and friendships. She decided to trust that she had raised capable adults and that they would navigate their lives, and that she would be there to support them if they asked for help, rather than constantly anticipating problems. It was difficult at first, but gradually, she felt a huge weight lift. Her relationships with her children improved because their interactions were no longer dominated by her anxiety. She found more peace and freedom simply by choosing to release the need to control their lives and trusting them to live them. Letting go of unnecessary worry and the need for control is about finding freedom in acceptance. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything, you can control how you respond. By releasing this burden, you open yourself up to more peace, more resilience, and a greater capacity to enjoy the beauty and spontaneity of life as it unfolds. So, we've talked about letting go of the need for constant busyness, releasing the weight of regret, shedding the fear of asking for help, and easing our grip on worry and control. These aren't small things, are they? They are deep-seated habits and beliefs that have been with us for a long time. Remember, letting go isn't about forgetting the past, ignoring responsibilities, or pretending everything is perfect. It's about making a conscious choice to release the burdens that are no longer serving you. The things that are actively detracting from your happiness and well-being in this precious stage of life. Each one of these things, the need for constant busyness, the grip of regret, the fear of accepting help, the weight of unnecessary worry, takes up immense physical, mental, and emotional energy. Energy that could be used for living, for laughing, for connecting, for exploring, for simply being present and enjoying the moments you have. Living happily and, yes, potentially longer, isn't just about diet and exercise. It's profoundly influenced by our inner state, by how much peace we carry versus how much burden, stress, anxiety, and chronic emotional weight take a toll on the body over time. By consciously working to let go of these things, you are not only freeing your spirit, but you are also doing a tremendous service to your physical health. You are reducing stress hormones, lowering blood pressure, improving sleep, and boosting your immune system. The connection between our minds and bodies is powerful, and letting go is an act of profound self-care. It might feel overwhelming to think about releasing things you've held onto for so long, but remember the phrase, gently letting go. It's not about a sudden, forceful change. It's about becoming aware, making small shifts in your perspective and habits, and being patient and compassionate with yourself throughout the process. Celebrate the small victories, the afternoon you spent relaxing without guilt, the time you chose acceptance over worry, the moment you allowed someone to help you. You have accumulated a lifetime of wisdom, experience, and resilience. Now is the time to use that strength not for carrying burdens, but for crafting a life filled with more joy, peace, and freedom. You have earned the right to live lightly, to savor each day, and to embrace the richness of this chapter of your life. The power to make these changes is within you. It begins with a simple decision, the decision that you are ready to release what weighs you down and step into the lighter, brighter future that awaits you. Think about what your life could feel like if you genuinely let go of these 4 things. Imagine the extra energy, the clarity of mind, the deeper connections, the simple contentment. That life is available to you. It requires intention and practice, but it is absolutely within your reach. I truly hope this conversation has given you something to think about, perhaps sparked a realization or two. What are your thoughts on this? Are there other things you feel need letting go of in later life? I'd love to hear your experiences and insights in the comments below. Your perspective is incredibly valuable, not just to me, but to everyone else who reads them. Sharing our journeys helps us all feel less alone and more empowered. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, please give it a like. It tells me this kind of content resonates with you and encourages me to create more videos aimed at helping you live your best life at every age. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss out on future videos where we explore more topics related to health, happiness, and making the most of this incredible stage of life. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, every day is an opportunity to let go of something heavy and embrace something lighter. Live your best life with less burden and more joy, starting right now.